Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to East of Java. We're taking a little ride this morning through the countryside of Bali. I'm bringing my scooter out today. That is actually the most relaxing way to ride. You can spend a lot of time looking at the landscape, not rushing, enjoying this beautiful sunny day. And getting to where I want to go. Later on, when we get to a slightly bigger road with a bit more traffic, where we can go at higher speeds, even though we're not in a rush at all, you will see that the scooter is absolutely adequate to keep up with traffic around here. I've been touching on this in my first video. You don't necessarily have to have a very big motorbike so that you can make your way wherever you want to go on the island. Now we're just outside Denpasar and you can see it's immediately opening up. It becomes very green, lots of rice fields. Agriculture is a dominant industry in Indonesia. And I have to say that from the point of view of sustainability or self-sustainability, Indonesia is in a very lucky position because the ground is very fertile with all that volcanic sediment, enough rain, tons of sunshine and warm weather. We are able to harvest rice on the same field 3 times a year. That is very unusual, and it just goes to show the fertility and the productivity of the ground, the soil here in this country. The same goes for fruits, vegetables. There is obviously a big fishing industry, and chicken is the staple meat of Indonesia, apart from fish. Beef and lamb are also available. So is pork, but pork is only available in Bali because Bali is a Hindu island. The rest of Indonesia is predominantly Muslim, and as you probably know, Muslim people don't eat pork. So outside Bali, pork is taboo. And as I said, chicken, fish, lamb, beef, all available in abundance. So that makes us actually very independent from the outside world. Equally, Indonesia has a lot of oil production, so it is a very resource-rich country, very beautiful. I thought I'd touch on this while we are going through the rice fields, so that you get an idea of how the situation is about this. Okay, so I wanted to show you, now we're at the red light, and I know that the road from here up is not too busy usually, so we're gonna try to do a little bit more of a spirited ride. I'm going to be quiet, just to show you that a scooter does the job pretty well to get you around here. Okay, so here I am standing now on the main road in Ubud, called the Monkey Forest Road, one of the tourist hotspots on the island. And as you can see, there is nobody here, which is really a sad thing to see. So let's jump on the bike, and I want to continue talking to you about something that is obviously very close to my heart. Not only to mine, obviously, because everybody seems to be affected almost equally by this coronavirus thing. So, Bali, like many other tourist places, is dependent completely on the income of tourism. And since the lockdown has started on a global scale, including here, there are no tourists. Therefore, there is no income. Therefore, people are suffering greatly. I touched before on the independence of Indonesia when it comes to food production. That is one of the lucky things, because poor people or people who have lost their jobs in most cases will still find food. There are people who give away food as charity. Local government organizations are supporting people who are in shortage, who have problems feeding their family. So it's a very personal thing to try to keep society going. There is no support from the state as such. We do not have that social parachute that Europe or North America can offer its citizens. So here it really depends on the support being organized on a local and private level. And Indonesian people are very generous, very understanding of others' situations. So until now, I have to say it's been very quiet. We have had no substantial increase in crime rates or anything like that. And that is down to the fact that people look out for each other. Now, like probably most of you, I keep watching the news to understand what is going on with this coronavirus situation. How are we going to get out of this? When will the world change to what you can call normal life? And I have to say I'm really confused, because yeah, you can see so much information coming on the news, and it's a bit contradictory. One day everything is good and the infections rates are going down. The next day everybody is talking about what they call the second wave coming. And there seems to be no clear path as to how to restore a certain mindset that will help people deal with the situation and open up the economy and personal liberties like we used to enjoy before the coronavirus. Now, don't get me wrong, I totally understand that governments have reacted very carefully, very strictly, because nobody was prepared for this coronavirus thing. Nobody knew how to deal with it. It seems that until now it's not very clear where this virus really comes from, what it really can do in the long run. So being careful and doing what the world has done, and basically ask everybody to go home, sit down and wait for better days, is an understandable reaction. But now, about 2 months in, we can start looking at the impact of that decision. And I would say the social economic cost is staggering, absolutely staggering. Also the human toll. And I mean, don't get me wrong, 250 plus thousand people who have lost their lives is a very tragic event. I don't like to belittle that in the least, and I know that for every family and every person affected, it is as tragic as if it would be just one death or it would be millions of deaths. What I'm thinking is, how long can we go on like this? How long can everybody stay home, basically not do anything, and hope that the world is gonna keep turning? And then with all the news that I'm watching, I do not see any clear answers. And here is my point about the news. The news has to continue, right? The news cannot shut down because people want to get information, people want to get updates. But I do take the news with a grain of salt, and here is why. The news people are also in a very difficult situation because since everything else has been shut down, from sports to politics to events of all kinds, they have nothing else to report about than the coronavirus. And because people want to sell their news, they have to spice it up a little bit. So no matter how mundane a story may be, it has to get a headline and it has to get some sort of sensationalist presentation in order for people to watch it. Everybody's going to tune out of the news, and that's the next business that's going to die. So, yes, we do need information, and I understand that it's difficult for reporters and news channels and broadcasters to find anything else to talk about because there is nothing else going on. But because of that reason, we have to make sure that we actually analyze what we are being told and not just take in everything that is coming through the TV as a given fact. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist by any means, but I do have questions. And my main question is not where this virus is coming from. That will eventually, I think, come out. My main question is, how do we get out of this situation? Because we all depend on a solution that will lead us to that eventually. And once I have reached my house, I will sit down with you again and try to go a little bit deeper into that question, give you my take on it. And of course, please feel free to respond what your opinion may be. It may be a very interesting topic of discussion because I think the more minds work together, the more likely it is to come up with something that works. So exchange of information is crucial. And yeah, let's talk, guys. I'll speak to you again when I'm back in the house.
So here we are. And we find ourselves in this situation of a global lockdown, which, like I said before, is an understandable, careful reaction. And it's lucky and happy to observe that a lot of countries have actually managed to get the outbreak more or less under control. It means the numbers are coming down, and we hope that the economies regionally will slowly start to pick up again. However, what I do not understand is that there is all this news about testing on TV. Different kinds of tests, swab tests, antibody tests, and the rapid test. Why are we not focusing all our resources on rapid testing? It is the only logical solution to reopen the economy. Why? Because you want to know in an instant or in a matter of minutes who carries the virus and who doesn't. Then it's also very easy to let companies go back to work because you basically prick people in the finger, take a drop of their blood, insert it into the machine, and 5 minutes later you have a result. If that person is negative, please continue with your life. If the person is positive, please go home and isolate yourself. Right? So, logic dictates that this virus is no longer allowed to cross borders. That's how we got into the mess in the first place. People left China or went on holiday from China, spread the virus globally, and got us into this mess. So now that we are aware of this, we can no longer allow the virus to fly. Rapid testing is the only answer for that. And I'm sure that there is a way that passengers who are booked on a flight can come to the airport maybe 1 or 2 hours before departure, get a test, and if you're negative, you're allowed to board the aircraft. If you're not, sorry, you cannot fly today. When you feel better or when you have overcome your infection, even if you may not be sick, you're most welcome to travel again, but you will have to be tested again first. And this will have to continue until we have a reliable cure, which at the moment I'm not aware of, or a vaccine, which I am not sure how long it will take and whether it's actually possible to develop a vaccine for this virus, because just like for the flu, it seems to be very challenging to come up with a vaccine that offers 100% protection. So let's put it this way. The money that we are spending now on a global level is an unbelievable amount of money. And I have calculated that if we were to supply the entire world population one rapid testing machine per 2,000 people, because not the entire global population is flying every day, that would be sufficient. That would make 4 million machines. Sounds like a lot, yes it is. And I have also further estimated that each machine would carry a price tag of $10,000, which I'm sure is way too high. Once you start mass producing these things, the price will go down a lot. Even at the price level of $10,000, we're talking about $40 billion. Now that is a lot of money, no doubt. It's a drop in the bucket compared to the trillions that have been spent already, basically just to soften the blow for most people. And I would very much hope that somebody will decide that rapid testing is the first and foremost priority to go with. After that, you can do all the analytical tests, the antibody tests, which are important for statistics, important for science, because you need to know what percentage of the population has been affected for research purposes. But for reopening the economy, there is nothing that could be replacing rapid testing capabilities. And I just read an article an hour ago about airlines coming up with new ideas of how to implement social distancing on airports and how to implement social distancing on the plane. Are you kidding me? Everybody that has ever been flying must seriously question the logic behind that statement. How do you socially distance on the most cramped space known to man during a flight? And most of us fly economy. Even if you leave one seat empty, the next guy breathing down your neck is 50 centimeters away from you. There is no social distancing on an aircraft. So we need to separate the infected from the uninfected people before they board the airplane. Now, if we do this successfully, and if we do this consequently, that has a whole tail of consequences that are positive. The first would be that there is no more need for quarantine. No matter where you take off, no matter what your destination is, if it is confirmed that that airplane that is leaving the airport has only healthy people on board, there is no requirement or no need for a quarantine at your destination. That would also allow opening up the entire hospitality industry, hotels, restaurants, bars. If you could successfully and reliably test people with a waiting time of 3 to 5 minutes, everybody would take a seat in a waiting room and wait for their result. I'm sure, no question about it. And if we get to the point that we actually develop a medication that works against the coronavirus, or a vaccine that works against the coronavirus, well, then we can scrap this problem. But until then, I do not see any other opportunity to get back to what you call a normal life. And this is something that I'm missing when I watch the news. There's a lot of talk about testing, there's a lot of confusion, in my opinion. But nobody can lay out a straight and direct line from lockdown to the reopening scenario. And in my opinion, this is the only way to go. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. I think this may be opening up more questions than answers, at least to some. But this is my take on the situation. And I would be really interested to hear what you guys think. And until then, I say thank you for watching and goodbye.